If you did something dodgy with your bounce back loan, this is your last chance to put it right. The government have announced the COVID Voluntary Repayment scheme, and it gives you until December this year to repay your bounce back loan without facing questions or criminal investigation. Now, if you miss the window, the next knock on your door could come with prosecution or even prison. Now, what is the scheme and how does it work? It's called the COVID Voluntary Repayment scheme, and it opened about a month ago. And you've got until December 2025 to repay money that you shouldn't have received, no questions asked. And it applies to all pandemic era schemes. So your bounce back loan, your CBILS, furlough, self-employed scheme grants. Now, once you've repaid it, that is it. No investigations, no black marks, no public naming and shaming. So it's like a one-time offer to quietly settle debts before enforcement becomes public, automated and far more severe than it has in the past. Now the government is saying to you, listen, if you fix it now while it's easy, because soon it's not going to be. And it's not aimed at the hardened fraudsters here, right? It's for the normal directors, the real genuine directors of small businesses in the UK who made mistakes under pressure. Because it was chaos, wasn't it? I remember 2020. If I'd have woken up and there'd have been 3 suns in the moon in the sky that day, it wouldn't have surprised me. Guidance changed daily. Some people overclaimed by accident. Others panicked and took money that they didn't need because they didn't know when they were going to get any more money. Now the government knows that, but they also know the difference between desperation and deception. And I think why it's happening is, listen, there's a lot of egg on the faces of people that put these policies in place. I mean, the scale of COVID, there's over £10 billion that's been lost to fraud in the COVID era. It's hard to understand the sheer scale of that £10 billion. 1.5 billion of it has been recovered. They've got a guy called the COVID Counter Fraud Commissioner, okay? And he's basically gone out there on record. He says this final repayment window is about cleaning up what's left behind before enforcement begins. And the government's position on this, it was Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, she signed off on a new investigatory powers earlier this year. And it's called the Public Sector Fraud Authority, okay? And now they have access to everything. So they know who's been at it. They've got access to HMRC, Companies House, and banking data to track everything that we've been talking about. So they know that every misused pound has left a digital footprint, and they've got a complete profile of every director and company that's broke the rules. And they're basically coming out and say, if you pay now, clear your conscience, you're going to face the consequences. Their view is, and it's quite rightly, that money belonged in the communities, in the NHS and in the public services. Now, the reason why I think this is going to get personal for people is they're not just chasing numbers now. They're chasing accountability. They want director bans, compensation orders, which basically means you get made personally liable for that bounce back loan. There's going to be public prosecutions. And again, fix it now or you're going to be forced to fix it later. Now, once this deadline passes, these new enforcement powers go live. And the Fraud and Recovery Bill is going to allow up to 12 years after so up to 2032, they'll be able to try and recover it. And the HMRC and the Cabinet are going to have direct account recovery powers. So it's like the new bank account seizure rules for HMRC tax debts. They're going to be able to dip into your bank accounts to take out money that you've took out inappropriately. There are also these investigations now. They're not reliant on people in the insolvency service or the HMRC doing the job manually. It's all going to be automated, and it's data matching from all of those tools, all of those different places that I talked about. They know who's been at it, and the consequences are going to be severe. Obviously, there's been loads of director disqualifications. There's more to come. We're going to see more compensation orders. That's where you're going to be made personally liable for these bounce back loans that you shouldn't have took. There'll be bank account freezes, and they'll seize money from bank accounts. And there's going to be civil recovery notices without the need for going to court. And in the worst cases, there'll be criminal prosecutions. We've seen people go to prison. There will be more. I mean, obviously that's for the worst cases. Now, this voluntary scheme is the only period where you can step forward, repay and walk away without damage, okay? There is another option though, okay? Let's say that you haven't got the 50 grand that you need to pay back the 50 grand bounce back loan you shouldn't have took. You speak, this is a message for people who are still in that limbo and they're not doing anything. You can do deals with a bank and pay it back over an extended period of time, paying them something, even if you've got to pay it personally, okay? If you've done something with a bounce back loan you shouldn't, or you've took one that you shouldn't, the best way is to pay it back, even if you're paying £10 or £100 a month, because I believe as long as you're in some type of arrangement to pay back the bounce back loan, the government should leave you alone. Now, what that Tom Hayhoe, and he's the COVID corruption minister. Sorry, he's not a COVID corruption minister, but he's basically he's the guy in charge of getting this money back. He said something that really stuck with me. And I'm paraphrasing a bit, but he says, the pandemic hit small businesses harder than most, okay? Many did their best in impossible circumstances. Some made bad decisions they regret, and this scheme gives them the chance to put it right. He's right, I've spoken to hundreds of people like that. And the majority of people I've spoken to aren't criminals. They were scared, confused, and they were trying to protect their families and staff. But the difference between guilt and redemption is going to come down to one decision. Whether you take the chance to do the right thing. And either that's paying it back in full, if you've got the funds to do so, or speaking to the bank and arranging to pay it back over a longer period of time. I've spoken to hundreds of directors who know that they overclaimed, who know that they used it on the wrong thing. But they've built it up with so much in their head that they're paralysed. They tell me, if I pay it back now, won't that admit my guilt? No, it won't. If you pay it back under this scheme, it's the opposite. It's closure, it's freedom, it's peace of mind. Because I know if you've done something wrong with your bounce back loan, it's unfinished business in your head. If you pay it, it's over. You can move forward. And if you can't pay it all, speak to the bank and pay it over a longer period of time. What the government is saying is they're going to wipe the slate clean. The banks, if you do a deal with them, I don't think they'll take it any further. So what you should be doing now, right? Identify what you owe. Review what you have got left on your bounce back loan. Pick the bloody phone up to the bank or pay it back. Use this scheme. But most of you, I think, will be picking the phone up to the bank and offering to pay it over a longer period of time. It could be 5 years, could be 10 years, could be 20 years, right? But stop panicking. You know, there's offers here where you can, you make partial repayments. And what you do, if you just stick your head out of the parapet, because they know who you are anyway, and pay what you can, when you can, this should keep them at bay. So, I hope you found this video useful. It's Chris Worden. Please don't give us calls about bounce back loans. We've spoken to hundreds of you. We just got loads of content for you. If you've took a bounce back loan and you can't pay it, what I want you to do, I want you to go over there on that video that tells you everything about the new rules around bounce back loans and why I was wrong in the past. It'll tell you how to settle a bounce back loan with a bank. It'll even talk about partial settlement where you pay them a little bit and they write the rest off. Go and watch it there. Thank you.